All right, so if you're a job seeker, here are 3 things that you need to know about the recruitment process. So I've been a recruiter for about 8 years now, and everything I'm going to share with you comes from real hands-on experience. So the first thing every job seeker should know is that not all skills are weighted equally in the job posting. So when you're reading a job posting, it probably lists about 5 to 10 different skills. And the truth is, not all of them matter, right? So before posting a job, recruiters conduct a hiring manager intake. This is where we sit down with the hiring managers to figure out exactly what they're looking for. Well, more importantly, we do it to manage their expectations. And what I've noticed is that in almost every intake, the manager really only cares about 1 or 2 critical key skills, and these are the deal breakers. So if you don't list these skills on your resume, you won't even get past the first screening process, even if the rest of your resume is phenomenal. And here is a mental model so you can actually visualize what I'm talking about. Every role has a skill stack, right? And there's usually one skill that's doing all the heavy lifting. So if you're reading a job posting thinking, oh, this is perfect for me, just make sure that your resume highlights this one critical skill that the hiring manager is looking for, because that solves their biggest problem. The second thing every job seeker should know is that the most searchable candidate often beats the most qualified one. So let me draw this out for you. When you look at the job market, only about 20% of candidates are actively applying for jobs. The other 80% are passive. They're not job hunting, but they will move for the right opportunity. And so when recruiters post jobs on platforms like Indeed or LinkedIn, we're only reaching the active 20% of the job market. However, when we source candidates using LinkedIn Recruiter, we use social media marketing, we use employer referrals, recruitment agencies, or even campus recruitment, we're going after the 80% of the passive market. Right, there it is. Boom. So if you're invisible online or hard to search, you're making it 10 times harder for the recruiters to discover you. Pro tip. If you Google LinkedIn Social Selling Index and check your score, it's a solid benchmark for how searchable you are on LinkedIn. The third and last thing every job seeker should know is that at the end of the day, it's a numbers game. So every time we post a job, we get hundreds and hundreds of applications, but in the end, only one person gets hired. So let me show you how the numbers work on the back end. So for each job posting, we get about 500 applications. Out of those 500 applications, we try to phone screen 10 qualified candidates. Out of those 10 qualified candidates, we try to send 5 to the hiring managers for interview. And out of those 5 people who get a manager interview, 1 is presented with an offer. 1 is presented with an offer. So if you're just looking at a strictly numbers perspective, you have about a 1% chance of making it to the recruiter phone screen interview. And here's a valuable recruiter tip if you want to increase your chances of landing a phone screen interview. Get your application through channels other than job boards. Why? Because when your resume enters our ATS system, it's tagged based on how you were sourced. And the data consistently shows that candidates who come through active sourcing methods like referrals or direct outreach tend to be stronger hires. That's because in those cases, we're reaching out to people who closely match the role criteria instead of sorting through hundreds of general applications from the job boards. And those are the 3 things that I believe every job seeker should know about the recruitment process. They're the same mental models that I use as a recruiter. And that's it for this video. If you have any questions, feel free to add me on LinkedIn. You can write down the questions in the comment sections below. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.